My friends, it just keeps happening. Recently, a rare Super Untied world record was achieved in GoldenEye 007 speedrunning. But what exactly is a Super Untied, and what were the circumstances surrounding this incredible feat? Well, that's why you're here, of course, so sit back, make a nice cup of hot chocolate, start up the fire, and settle on in, because you're about to hear the story of Perfect Ace's Super Untied. Super Untied. But my friends, I tell you this much, it's tough to speedrun yourself while also watching someone else live stream their own speedrun attempts. The game sounds collide, so you can't really tell what's going on, plus you're always looking back and forth between screens. Do you know what is the perfect game to play while watching someone else attempt a Super Untied world record? Indeed, baby, it's Raid Shadow Legends. Available on Android, iOS, or the way I play it, right on PC. I tell you, I recently got on another kick of Raid Shadow Legends, and it's been truly remarkable. I powered up my epic champion Basher all the way to level 60, and he's truly amazing in the challenging faction wars. But even more challenging is the Doom Tower, which I've been grinding up, but I simply cannot get past the vexatious Nether Spider, so I often end up just farming the Celestial Griffin instead for some Griffin feathers, which I can use to craft great artifacts in the Forge. Wow! There are ongoing events and tournaments every single day, and soon they're adding a new feature called the Guardian Ring, which will give you new ways to use and upgrade your champions, and acquire legendary champions you may have missed. It's never been a more exciting time to be a Raid gamer. So if you want to try it out yourself and get a nice head start, all you have to do is click the link in the description or scan the QR code right here. New players will get an epic hero Chonoru, 200,000 silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in-game. Wow, look at this cool champion you'll get for free. And you'll find all your rewards right here in the treasure chest waiting for you when you get in-game. Let me know what you think, baby. It's Raid Shadow Legends, truly legendary. Cheerios, and thanks for supporting the channel, Raid. So you may have already guessed it, but this story indeed takes place on the stage Bunker 2, and is somewhat of a follow-up to the story of the discovery of a strange and unusual strategy made earlier this year, the Arlene Jail Cell Pauseless Warp strategy. When we left off in our last video on the topic, we had seen a number of new records set on the Agent difficulty, but we knew that there were still 3 or 4, maybe even more seconds to be cut from Secret and Double Agent. The records before the discovery were made public were 42 and 53 seconds on Secret and Double Agent, and back then, only 2 months ago, we had seen only one improvement on either stage, a 52 Double Agent by True Faith. And you may remember this run because it's the one where his cat reacts excitedly to the new record. Yes! Now, this was all well and awesome, but we knew that lower was not just possible on both Secret and Double Agent, rather inevitable. And one thing that new strategy discoveries always do well is bring back the old veteran legends to the game, regardless of how long it's been since they last played and slayed. And that is exactly what this strategy did. You see, Secret Agent was particularly interesting in that we did see a number of players tie 42 seconds, the old record by Perfect Ace, and it was now matched thanks to the new Jail Cell Arlene Warp strategy by Irie Butler, True Faith, and L. Qwerty. This was quite intriguing because Perfect Ace's record was set a couple of years before this Arlene Jail Cell Warp strategy was discovered, and so there were about 4 seconds one could theoretically make up by stapling on the new start, with a run equally as good as Ace's original 42. That 42 used a strategy in the main bunker area that very few other players ever used, a tough far distance camera shot which also created noise to lure the clipboard guard to a point later in the stage. This was just seen as too tricky or overly complicated for most to bother with, and so the 3 runners who tied 42 did so by saving time with the Arlene jail cell warp, plus the more conventional, slower route throughout the bunker. Well, alright, you might think it's pretty obvious what happens next. Someone just combines the jail cell Arlene warp with the clipboard strategy lure and gets amazing untied. But not quite. No, indeed, it would be another wily veteran legend who would appear and be the one to crank out an untied world record, the first on Secret Agent with the jail cell Arlene warp.
Simon do it. That's 41. Class that shit. Yep. What's up then?
Marcus Striker Rutsu would be the one to return and notch out the first untied world record with the jail cell Arlene warp strategy. I know Mark is an icon in the game of GoldenEye, but really he's only scored about a half dozen new personal records dating all the way back to 2017. So in this instance, he wasn't exactly the most likely candidate to score the untied. It just so happens that when he does play, he usually achieves something amazing and something of consequence. And so it was no different this time around. It had been about a month and a half at this point since the jail cell Arlene warp strategy was revealed to the world, and numerous players attempted to get 41 or lower, but it would be Mark to be the one to end up doing it. Truly and utterly remarkable. However, our story does not end there, because Mark did not use the clipboard lure strategy, leaving a few seconds on the table. It would be a couple of weeks more until none other than Perfect Ace would fire up his Nintendo 64 and decide to leave nothing out there, finally combining the jail cell Arlene warp with the clipboard lure. And wow, what a journey it was. On October 2nd, he would perform this speedrun, and you can see just how much time he loses by shooting out the final camera very slowly, missing a lot of shots. And it's a camera that is very, very tricky and inconsistent because you're trying to shoot from so far away. Even so, despite this run's flaws and slow last camera, this run still managed to match Mark's 41. Wow, this really demonstrates just how much lower this record could go if a superb run could come all together. The following day, Ace would get a slightly better run. Well, a better final camera, sure, but a number of the other cameras just weren't quite up to his standards. A few too many shots here, some bumps and back boosts here, and this run resulted in one of the funniest and most surreal end screen moments in the history of GoldenEye speedrunning. You heard that right, a new untied world record, pathetic, and just clicking away to carry on with more attempts. Now, some of you might see this as epic and cool, but others might see it as a little condescending or arrogant, but I really just think this is a result of Ace's own standards, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. This run was not what he was going for, and he was kind of annoyed that a run which finally completed all the cameras, a rarity to be sure, ended up having all these bumps and bruises all around. You know, he really had his sights set on 39 or 38 seconds and didn't want to settle for any less, so this 40 just meant nothing to him. I imagine this reaction would be similar to, say, a professional golfer who is mad about a shot that you or I would be thrilled with. Ace is just that good at the game, and so indeed, this 40, whatever, he was still going for lower. Ace decided that simply this one untied world record was not sufficient, and that he would go for the Super Untied. But what exactly is a Super Untied anyways? Well, this term was coined not all that long ago by none other than the notorious Mark Rutsu. You see, Mark is one of those speedrunners who live streams very infrequently, so you never really know if or when he's going to get up to his old legendary gaming. Mark achieved damn Double Agent 154, an amazing untied world record, roughly 1 year ago, and in among his sporadic live streams ever since then, he's placed a list of goals on the side of his layout. One of these goals was often damn Double Agent 153 in what he dubbed a Super Untied. You can even still see this Super Untied listed as a goal on his aforementioned Bunker 2 Secret Agent 41 second Untied World Record speedrun. Now, this term had no specific meaning at the time, it was just Mark being Mark, a funny and epic guy, and a throwback to the vintage days of the internet where you would just say funny random things and see what stuck. But Super Untied indeed seems to have stuck. You see, there's never really been one specific term for the situation where you have the untied world record on a stage, you're the undisputed best player on that stage, but even so, you decide to lower that same untied world record, taking it even a step further. This would be the exact scenario if Mark ever did achieve damn Double Agent 153, and hence the term Super Untied. It just has a really nice ring to it, and so a new term coined. There's some speedrun etymology for you. So, looking back in hindsight, Super Untieds are pretty rare throughout recent GoldenEye history. They were fairly common in the very early days, the late 90s and early 2000s, but in the past decade there are only a small handful of examples. Perfect Ace on Control's Secret and Double Agent, setting 404 and 405 in the year 2014, which remained untied through 2016, at which point he lowered these to 403 and 404. Graviton lowering his own Runway Double Agent untied world records a number of times, and a couple of examples of Mark Rutsu on Train, Secret Agent 124 lowering to 123, and the iconic Train Agent lowering his untied from 59 to 58, and then years later once again to 57. And these are really the complete list of Super Untieds in the 2010s, so they are indeed very, very rare. Going back to Bunker 2, it seemed pretty clear that Ace was not thrilled with his fresh untied of Bunker 2 Secret Agent 40 seconds, to say the least, and after all, the jail cell Arlene warp does save 3 or 4 seconds, and his record before this all was 42 seconds. So it stands to reason that if he just had the same run as his 42 with the jail cell Arlene warp, that would be 38 or 39 seconds for sure possible on the stage. And indeed, over the next few days, that was exactly the record Ace was looking to grind out. Ace streamed pretty much every day for the following week, looking to grind out the Super Untied, and had a number of very close calls. But as we all know, streaming can be tough and somewhat distracting. And so on October 8th, 2021, about 5 days after getting his unfulfilling 40 on the stage, Ace turned off webcam and microphone for a session of max concentration. Just a man and a speed game, as they say. And it resulted in this wonderful speedrun. There you have it, Ace had achieved the Super Untied, lowering his own untied world record, a very rare feat, and the first time this has happened in GoldenEye in the 2020s decade. This was even more impressive given that 39 seconds would have been enough for the Super Untied, yet he skipped all the way down to 38. So could this be even better? A Mega Untied? An Ultra Untied? The speedrun etymologists are still deciding on that one. We can also see that Ace has stated his goal on the stage as 37 or lower, and he did get a couple of 36 speed failed runs, missing only 2 or 3 cameras, but none of these have yet panned out. And he, as well as most of the rest of the community, have moved away from Bunker 2 after 2 fervorous months of speedrunning the stage. So for now, 38 seconds remains Ace's Super Untied, sitting 3 seconds ahead of second place on the official world rankings. Ace would then turn his attention to Double Agent, where after about 3 or 4 sessions of attempts, he would pretty quickly match the 52-second world record of True Faith, and then later that session improve this time to get another new Untied world record. So yeah, just another 2-second Untied to mention in passing there. Insane stuff by Ace, it can't be overstated. Truly remarkable speedrun world records. His 50 has since been encroached on slightly by this 51 by past champion Luke Sklar's, but once again the overall energy around Bunker 2 has slowly been draining away, so who knows if either will keep pushing for lower. All in all, lower than 38 and 50 are definitely possible and will likely happen sometime within the next few years, maybe sooner. But at the same time, they're very, very decent world records as is, and so however long they do end up standing, it'll be well deserved. I suppose we can't go on without mentioning the agent difficulty either. Callie's Untied world record of 20 seconds was finally tied by a speedrunner who few predicted would be the one to notch the score, Weister. More known for his train records, Weister is a very skilled player of course, so even though he may not have been one of the bookmakers' favorites to try the time, it wasn't too shocking. A run very well deserved. Ace would tie this not too many days later for a world record sweep on all 3 difficulties on the stage.
I think it's a low 21. Okay. Dude, that's f***ing hilarious. I'm happy I got it fast though. That was fun.
And they would be joined by one more surprising player. Tyler P is an ancient GoldenEye speedrunner who tied about a half dozen world records back in 2002 and 2003, and he only recently returned to the game this year. Bunker 2 Agent 20 is one of the world record ties he's performed this year, nearly 2 decades on from when he last competed at the game, and that is very cool. But the coolest of all Bunker 2 runs set over the course of these last few months may just be this one by the modest Jackstar. Ranked outside the top 100, he was simply going for the time of 21 seconds on Agent for some solid rankings points. He ran out of KF7 ammo and just had one remaining move for a prayer of getting the time he wanted.
Oh my god, am I gonna get it with a slap? Am I gonna get it with a slap? I got it with a slap!
Indeed, now that is a truly inspiring run. Very funny and epic, and those are the good times speedrunning really is all about. So on that note, that'll about do it for the story of Perfect Ace's rare Super Untied, and a follow-up to the insane story on GoldenEye's Bunker 2 stage. Really the story of the year as far as GoldenEye speedrunning goes. So I hope you enjoyed this one, stay true my friends, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.